Hey there, thank you so much for listening to Something Super Spiritual. My name is Jeffrey Peck, and I am a psychic medium. If you are seeking conversation with loved ones on the other side, or discussion about spirituality, life after life, and anything in between, join me as we discuss all things spirit. We are collectively experiencing a spiritual awakening right now and recognizing that we are much, much more than we once believed. We don't die, and life doesn't end. We are eternal spiritual beings living in this crazy 3D virtual world of existence. Let's talk about it.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for having me.
Oh my
Really,
God, you're so welcome. You know,
thank you.
this is my most favorite topic in the history of the world. So I just like to have, just for being here, thank you, because I want to share it with I scream it from the mountaintop, and this podcast is my mountaintop. So there's just not enough sharing that I feel like I can do. And I want to share you. I want to share us. I want to share spirit. And thank you.
Yes, and thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so Teresa, thank you so much for being here and welcome to Something Super Spiritual, the podcast. It's so great to meet you.
Thank you, Jeff, and thank you for having me. It's I'm super excited about today.
Awesome. So, you know what? Let's get started right at the beginning. Most people ask me, how did this happen with you? And there are so many of us where our stories are either I heard spirit when I was in the crib at 3 years old, or I was middle-aged and I had a trauma, somebody died, or I had a near-death experience, or I became attuned to Reiki like myself. So what is your story? Where did this start to happen in your world?
So since about 4 years old, I could sense and feel spirit. I didn't tell anybody, and honest, I pushed it away. But I also knew that I wanted to be a firefighter at the age of 4 years old. I even knew what city I was going to be on. So I did, long story short, I did become a career firefighter. I was injured and I had to retire. And then literally 2 months later, my dad had passed. And then all of this came full circle.
Your dad passed 2 months after you retired.
I had to retire, yeah, because of an injury.
Oh,
It's
wow.
those life things that happen in your life that totally transform and shift your life. And it was a difficult time for me, Jeff, to be honest. I was really in a dark place. I mean, I'm grieving the loss of my career
Mm-hmm.
and my passion and my dream.
Mm-hmm.
And then literally like 2 months later, my dad passed. So I didn't know who I was. And I felt, and I didn't know what grief was. I didn't know what I was going through. I couldn't name it. I didn't know what it was.
Wow. So going back as a child, then at 4 years old, you knew you were going to be a firefighter.
Yes.
Did that come from seeing firefighters on TV, or or your was somebody a firefighter in your life, or how did you know?
No, I'm first generation for everything. And as far as I know, I'm the first firefighter ever in my generation or in my life. I mean, I don't know anybody, no ancestors
Wow.
or anything or firefighters, as well as a medium.
Okay, that's amazing. So, all right. So, at 4 years old, you felt spirit. How did that manifest for you? Did you know what it was back then, or looking back, do you realize what you knew?
I did not know what it was. I just knew it scared me.
Mm.
And I also knew that I was different, but again, I didn't tell anybody out of fear.
Yeah.
So I literally just pushed it away. But I always been very intuitive and like things you don't know how you know them, you just know them.
Yeah.
And until like after my dad passed, and like I said, things came full circle, and it's just like wow.
So, all right. So fast forward then to the loss of your career and then the loss of your father. Within those two massive life events, what were the synchronicities that led you, those clues, those breadcrumbs from spirit that you were like, okay, I get it now. This is where I'm going. What would tell us that?
So what happened was, after my dad had passed, and again, I didn't know what I was going through. I didn't even know what grief was. I mean, I knew what grief was, but I didn't know I was going through. I couldn't name it. But I was up late one evening and I saw something actually on Facebook, um, and I did a guided meditation. And it was in that moment when I did that guided meditation that it felt like I fell like 100 feet, but actually it was my third eye opening up.
Sure.
And then I could sense, and it's like that vibration, but when spirit comes through us, it's that vibration frequency and that energy, right? It's
Hmm.
like that voice. You could pick up the phone and you could hear somebody's voice and you automatically know who it is. Like I knew that was my dad. I just had to get used to the new voice, the
Yes.
vibration. And so my dad was like coming to me and guiding me. So he's to this day, he's my spirit guide. I feel
I
that
love
guides
that.
me, and he's part of this whole process.
Awesome. So, okay. So after your dad passes, you go through this meditation, you're like, boom, have this whole new set of senses. Then what?
And then it scared me.
I'm sure.
It did, it scared me, it did. I like, if anybody knows me, I am a big chicken, like, turn on the lights, check in the closet, under the
Yeah.
bed, all those kid things. But but I trusted my dad,
Hmm.
and it wasn't again, it took his passing for me to go, "Okay, there's life after life, let's." And he was relentless. I'm not kidding, Jeff, like, he told me I was gonna be doing this work, and I said, "No, I'm not," and he said, "Yes, you are," and I said, "No, I'm not." Well, here we sit.
Yeah. 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 Oh, I love it. Like that's awesome. Okay. So you're scared, and that's totally normal. How did you get started then? I mean, you're like, okay, I get it. I understand what's going on. Did you join a circle? Did you find a mentor? Did you?
I did have I did at the time, I did have a mentor, that showed me of what not to do, actually.
Mhm, mhm.
So I did, and with my dad and continuing the meditations and things, and it was a lot of reading. I was guided to read so many fabulous books.
Totally. Mhm. I get
And
that.
that just kind of and things happened quickly. When I said things opened up, I mean, they was like now, and I was like, "Oh, this is good. What is happening to me? What's
Oh
happening
yeah,
in
yeah.
my life? Like, what is
Mhm,
going on? What is wrong with me?" Right?
mhm.
But it was none of those things. It was spirit, my spirit guides, my dad. All right, this is the next step. This is the next step. Things are opening up. Let's do this. Let's do this.
Do you remember any particular book that was the big aha for you?
Yes. So it was actually before I even seen did the guided meditation. My very first book was Proof of Heaven.
Okay.
And I actually read that book and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is pretty amazing." And then after that, again, I was still in this dark place, and that's when I seen the guided meditation, and then things really opened up, Jeff. And it's been a process, and it's been amazing too as well.
Mhm, mhm. I totally relate. I totally relate. So, did you create a website? Did you do practice sessions with people, and then how did it grow?
Yeah, so I connected with she called herself a healer. She was a healer, and I started working with her a little bit, and then I was just getting all this information, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, that's my so and so, that's my so and so." That's how I really kind of honed in on spirit, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is your loved ones," and I'm like, and that's when I realized, "Oh my gosh, I'm a medium,"
Mhm.
and I
Yeah,
didn't want to call that. I didn't want to call myself that. I didn't want to say, "Oh my gosh," because there's a lot of people that say they're a medium and they're not.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I was
Hmm.
like, so I pushed. I even kind of wanted to push that away. I was like, "No, I'm not. Why me? Why pick me? Why me? Why would I be quote unquote blessed?" But
Hmm.
you know what, Jeff? It's through our darkest days and our darkest moments. And if there's a way I could serve somebody in a different capacity and serve spirit and serve, people here and bringing forth that evidence and validation that we are eternal, then
Hmm.
here I
Ah,
am.
I just got chilly bumps. Just gave me chilly bumps everywhere. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's so beautiful.
I'm going to show up on 100%, and I'm doing this in honor of my father as well.
Ah, beautiful. What happened next? So you start taking on clients. I'm assuming you did practice sessions to where you were like, oh wow, this is real. This is like how what's happening.
Yeah, it took about 3 or 4 years before I actually went professional, and I started a
Public.
website and
Hmm.
started, seeing actually paying clients and things like that. And if you fast forward to today, I continue to see clients. And then I also go out and do large events as well.
Yeah. So how long ago has this been?
This all started in 2013.
Okay, so just what, 9 years already? Okay.
I know.
So 3 or 4 years after that, then you kind of went live and put your face out there. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And okay, so then when did the gallery reading start out in public in with audiences?
I started doing a little bit here and there, about a couple years ago. I go out and do small, intimate groups, and then a gentleman had called me and had me come out to Iowa, and so I went out there and started doing, and that's where I really started doing larger events. Was with Randy.
Okay. And how was that for you?
Oh, it
Do
was
you
amazing. It was amazing. It's scary,
Mhm,
Jeff. It's scary at
mhm.
first when you're out there and you're so vulnerable. But you know what? I have to trust in spirit.
That's
I
so
have to.
true.
And
It's
this
so
and this
true.
process is not even about me. It's not even about me. I am just a messenger. It's about the audience, it's about the sitters, and it's about
Mhm,
your loved ones. It's not
totally.
about me.
Mhm. Um, it is true. When we show up for spirit, spirit shows up for us. And there are periods where like I I have to step back and like fully remind myself that. And then it's like, okay, all right, I get it. Yes, here I am. Um, with regard to the readings that you've done for people, the question I get asked this question quite a lot. What are some examples where doing the work that we do and you're providing this communication from somebody's father or husband or whomever, and it is so huge that you're witnessing this springboard of healing for this person across from you. Or do you have a couple stories that just completely stick out and can change other people's worlds who are listening to this?
Yes. So, every session I do, everybody I come into contact with, or every reading I do is very, very important. And they're all very precious to me.
Mm-hmm.
One's not more important than the other because they're all important
Agreed.
because it's your loved ones. But the ones that do stick out, and I don't remember everybody's reading, I call them borrowed thoughts and memories, right?
It's true. Yeah.
Because
Mm-hmm.
because we do so many readings. But the ones that do stick out, there's a gal that I actually had a Zoom reading with, and she lost her whole entire family tragically in a car accident. Her whole family. And as I'm sitting with her on Zoom, she is so profoundly grateful and appreciative that it's people like her. It's why we love to do what we do.
Yes.
It's like you could go through such immense, enormous loss and still smile. It's like, Jeff, it's okay to be not okay. And we
Yes.
need to honor that process and we need to honor ourselves in that grief. There is no timeline for that,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not okay. We just don't want to get stuck there.
Right.
Not saying it's not going to be hard or
Mm-hmm.
difficult or you're going to have your moments. It's riding that wave.
Yes.
And
So,
so she inspires me.
oh, completely. Completely.
Yeah,
So during that reading with her, did they all come through or was it
they
just
they did. Her two sons and her husband.
with evidence
Oh yes.
completely changed her life moving forward?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, how can it not? How can that not? I mean, just losing a loved one can change our lives. I
Mm.
mean, when my father passed it completely, I turned my world upside down. I didn't That was my first major loss. Um, and I can't even imagine that people go through losses like that. There's no one greater than the other because love is love and loss is loss.
Truth.
Um, but here's a woman that's sitting in front of me, grateful for life and appreciative after losing her entire family in one moment.
Yeah, that's enormous. I
And
yeah,
and Jeff, and it's hard to wrap our minds and brains around on a human level of why this happened. But on the spiritual side or the spiritual level, there's always a reason or purpose, and we just may not understand that.
it's true. Yes. W- w- What do you? What do you think that purpose is? Where does that come from, do you suppose?
You know, uh, again, on a human level, we can't understand it, but on a
Right.
soul level, on a spiritual level, that's part of their journey.
Hmm.
And again, we may not consciously understand that, but if we think on a soul journey, soul level, that there is a reason and a purpose. And there's some things I just can't explain. I can't give an answer to. I just don't know it all.
Right. Oh, completely. Yeah. Um, Prior to opening up when you did and moving forward with this newfound purpose in your life, were you already on a spiritual path? Did you already have beliefs, thoughts, or religion or faith, or what was that like?
So what it was like for me is I always knew like love was love. Like we're taught and programmed certain things here. And you know what? Whatever your religious beliefs are, I'm not here to change any of that. It doesn't matter. What I do know and what I knew growing up, even though um the people that in my life are like, oh no, you need to do this, this, and this. I just knew everything was about love.
Hmm.
And now that doing this work, it is about love.
Oh,
It's all about love. And once we cross over, it's love. It's pure love and bliss.
totally. You know, um, it sounds so simple. It just,
Because it is simple.
yeah, yeah.
It is simple. We make it
Ex-
hard.
exactly, exactly. I mean, just the where we are in our lives, the judgments that we've been programmed with from society, culture, religion, schools, whatever, right? I mean, it's just weeding through all of that muck to that simple truth.
It is. It is simple. And it's not that somebody's way is a better way. There's
Hmm.
just there's another way. There's many paths that lead to the same ocean.
Oh, when I was a little kid, my dad, he loved the Chicago Bears. I'm not a sporto. He was a total sporto. And he would always say, there's more than one way to Chicago. There's more than one way to Chicago. And I never really understood, but now I'm like, oh, I so get that reference now,
Right?
you know?
Right?
Mhm. It's so true. There are a lot of us that um, I have found in doing these interviews, in being out with the community, meeting people, we find this instant family within our community, right?
Right.
And all of our experiences, some are so different and yet so much the same in the differences that there are. Some of us are almost like, I want to say, like self-trained. And when I say self-trained, like more like trained by our spirit guides, our soul, doing our own work. And
Hmm.
others, seek out mentors and teachers and all that. Within your development within that first 3 or 4 years, was it just, I think you said Randy? Was it Randy that helped you?
No, no, no. Randy, I just went to Iowa for the group
Oh,
events.
that was for Iowa, right? Are there
Right.
any teachers then that when the student is ready, the teacher appears? Did you have any experiences like that?
My dad, my father.
It was your dad in spirit the whole time.
Yep, it was him in spirit.
Oh,
All
that's
the credit goes.
beautiful.
I mean, the credit goes to spirit. It's spirit because they're the one that taught me.
Yeah. Okay, I love that. That's what I was trying to clear up. That is really, really phenomenal.
Yeah.
Um, can you tell me more about that? I mean, I'm just so interested in that experience.
So as far as like in the very
Yeah,
beginning,
within that 3 to 4 years, your development, like you would do practice sessions, I'm assuming, and within those practice sessions, how did your dad come through and say, okay, this was good, learn, open up a little bit here, or you're seeing this, or how you really learn to tune into your clairs, like all of how do you how like this is so fascinating for me. How did you learn all that?
and those are great questions. And I don't have an answer for that. It just happened. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, like I had that one guided meditation. It was a process. Even though it happened quickly, things just opened up. And I have no other than reading the books, doing the meditations, and I just knew things. I didn't know how I knew them. I just knew them.
I love this.
And it's as fascinating as it may be for you, it's just as fascinating for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, okay. All right. Hang on. I had a question while you were wrapping that up. It was tied to now that you've been doing this for about 9 years. Um, what do you what do you think happens when we die?
I know when we cross over, we shed the ego, the fear, the suffering, the pain. And it doesn't matter how we get to the other side.
Mhm,
We go
mhm.
to a place of love and bliss.
Agreed.
And I think it is whatever you believe to be until you let go of that resistance. And it's just surrendering and it's just love. It's so unconditional and
Yeah.
it's so profound.
And unconditional is such a big word. And I think that it's so the true magnitude of it, the true truth of that word, I think is really hard for our human minds to really wrap around it for what
Mhm.
it true unconditional. Um,
No judgment. There's no
yeah,
judgment.
yeah,
It's unconditional love, no judgment. Like, because we're human, we're still here. We call love, but it may be distorted love.
confused. Hmm.
Hurts, we have baggage, we have pains, we have
Yes,
pain walls. Um, and quite frankly, most don't even know how to love themselves. And that's where it starts with self-love. You can't give from an
totally.
empty cup.
You can't give from an empty cup. Ah, perfect. Another question that I get often, you've had the experience with people where somebody had passed really recently, like days maybe, that come through that quickly, right? And
Mhm.
then you have the experience of somebody coming in and say, I lost my best friend father 3 years ago, and I've been waiting for a message. I've been seeing mediums and he just hasn't come through. Why? What do you think?
You know what? And it doesn't mean that you don't want it as much. They have an agenda, Jeff. Spirit has an agenda. Again, it's not like that you don't want it. Because we certainly all want certain loved ones to come through, right? We do. We just can't make them come through.
Hmm.
Spirit has an agenda. It's
Hmm.
not up to us who comes through.
Hmm.
They're like, well, why hasn't so and so and so and so? Again, it's not that they're not with you and around you because they certainly are.
100%.
It's just coming to my awareness.
Yes. And there's always this need that spirit knows that we might not in that moment, that more often than not is shown through a reading. At the end, you're like, oh, I get it now. Um,
Yeah.
can you relate to any of those readings where at the end your sitter was just like, now I understand why she came through first. Now I understand why, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Absolutely. And they're wanting to know. I mean, I've had up to 13 loved ones come through in one sitting before.
mhm.
You
It's
know,
like
you know how
it's like a
that goes.
party bus rolls up and they just like
It's like
single file.
right, it's a reunion. And it doesn't mean I feel this is my personal feeling. When you have one or two or three coming through, it's all of them collectively coming through too as well. It's not individuals like we are here individuals because we're
Yes,
all connected.
I love
And they have
that.
an
It's so
agenda.
true.
Again, I can't stress that enough. It's not up to us who comes through.
Yeah, at the beginning of my readings, I do explain that to people. We can't control who comes through, so be prepared for a surprise. And it's the surprises that are just really like aha moments for them. And I love that part of it too.
Yes. And matter of fact, that just happened earlier this afternoon today when I was doing the reading. She's like, oh my gosh, that's my daughter's best friend.
Hmm.
You know? So, and it's being open to the process and how the process works, and that you could be the messenger or medium as well. I've had it where, I'm sitting with a lady and she's like, Teresa, I have no idea what you're talking about. Well, come to find out it was her neighbor's son. They have an agenda. And believe me, if there's a way for them to come through and pass along a message, they will.
Totally. And that is so beautiful too, when you do have somebody who knows somebody that knows somebody, and here comes this person and they're like, wait a minute, that was my neighbor's father's wife, you know?
Yes.
And I said, and they still live there, right? Yeah. Well, here's your chance to go give them this message, because they need them to know, in fact, last week it was, they need them to know that, get back outside and cut some more flowers, bring them in the house. And in that
Yeah.
moment, I am with you, you know, and that's exactly what it was. These people, this lady would cut flowers, and she, in her grief, she was neglecting that one special process that she always had. And it was a reminder for her, get out there and cut those flowers because I'm with you, you know, in those
Yes.
moments. And yeah, those are just really special.
It is. They are. I was sitting with a lady and her baby passed. It was 3 months old. Her baby passed. Her baby was coming through. And there's not a lot of frame of reference because the baby's young, right? But I was being shown what looked like a Mickey Mouse bow on the baby's head. It was black and red polka dot ribbon on the baby's head. And she's just, again, it was on Zoom and she's just looking at me and she picks up her phone, and on the picture on her phone was her baby with this red and black polka dot bow.
Beautiful.
It's amazing.
It really is
Spirit is
amazing.
amazing. Your loved ones are amazing.
Come all the time, and we get to participate in miracle after miracle after miracle.
Mhm.
And the thing is, we're all wired the same way. Whether you and I are doing it professionally and in front of a bunch of people is different than, somebody who's not supposed to do that, but they can still connect with their loved ones. We're all wired, we're all spiritual beings in this body, and we, they come through in so many different ways for us.
They do. And you know what? Nobody's greater than anybody else. We all have the ability to connect. And I tell people, you don't need me. You don't need a medium to connect to your loved ones. I
Exactly.
understand why you come to a medium, but you talk to them. They hear you. They know your thoughts.
Yes.
Thoughts are
Oh,
energy.
totally. Yeah. I tell people all the time, in fact, I had one a couple weeks ago where it was her son in spirit, and she was in front of me on the Zoom, and he was showing me that she kept going to his picture. Like every time she would talk to him, she'd run to his picture and talk to his picture. And they had a kind of relationship where he was really jokey and teasy, and he'd be like, "Ma, you don't have to go to my picture every time you talk to me. I hear your thoughts. I hear your words. Talk to me wherever, in the car, in the store." And so it was silly and it was fun. So what you just said, yes, it's beautiful.
It is. And they know. They're with us. They're with us all.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that connection can never be lost or severed.
Oh no, absolutely not.
Never. And I've had people say, Teresa, I don't feel them. I don't sense them. I don't, they are with you and around you. And sometimes it may be us in the grief process. Again, it's okay. They're good.
Mm-hmm.
We're not.
Mm-hmm.
We're not.
I think we can go through a period where the grief and that pain is so overwhelming that we aren't really capable in that moment of recognizing them trying to come through, whether it be, a message with a bird or a song or whatever, you know what I mean?
You,
um I think that we all can. I think grief is the worst possible thing that we as human beings are here for.
you know what? And we have to go through it.
Yes. Mhm.
You have to. The only way out is through, is feel it, heal it, and go through. It will change you. Grief
Mhm.
will change you.
100%.
But we have a choice. We have a choice of how it's going to change us. What are we going to do with that?
So what is your advice to people who are
Get
in the
up.
thick of it?
Get up. Get up. Keep getting up. You fall down, keep getting up. Get up. Get up. They want us happy. Your loved ones want you so happy. You're still here. You're here for a reason and a purpose. You're still here. And we've got to think, you know what? If it was us that was crossed over, would we want our loved ones here not happy? No, we want them happy. And what better way to honor our loved ones? And it's okay, Jeff. It's so okay to be upset and hurt and miss them and grieve them. It's okay. It's okay to have both. You can be happy and sad and all of those things. We just don't want to get stuck there. That's how we honor them.
Awesome. This is so well said. We've been talking for like 30 minutes now, and I have had chili bumps for about 26 of those 30 minutes. Okay, so another question that I get asked often: what is your regular life like? Like when you're in regular, you go to a party with friends, you go to dinners with friends, you're at um a holiday party at a really old, fancy, historic building with history. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What is your real life like? Do you feel this all the time? Do you get messages here and there? What's that like?
Yeah, no, I do feel and I sense. However, I will never ever go up to somebody and invade their privacy or their vibration. I will never go up to somebody and go, "Oh my gosh, I have so and so here." I won't do it. I did that in the very, very beginning when I was first learning 3 times, and we're really good friends to this day. And the only reason I did it, I thought spirit was going to kill me. No, no, I thought I was going to have a panic attack, and I did it. And then I set that boundary with spirit, like, okay, you know what? I will not invade anybody's
Mm,
unless it is like an absolute 100, but they don't. They respect that boundary. That's an energetic boundary, and I appreciate that, and I will
completely
not go up to
agreed.
somebody.
I'm the same way. I, yeah, I don't want to throw somebody off and reopen that wound if they aren't really prepared. And
Absolutely, and, people come and they're like, "Teresa, when should I when should I go to a medium? When's a good time?" I hear things, "You gotta wait for spirit for so long." No, you know what? It's when you're ready.
Mhm,
It's when you're ready.
completely.
Spirit's always ready. It's when you're ready.
Totally. So when you are out, then like what do you feel? Do you sense energies of old historic places, haunted places? I use that in quotes, by the way. How's that work with you?
You know what? It's just me shifting my awareness,
Mhm,
Jeff.
mhm.
Like, okay, I'm off today. I'm off. My it's off.
Awesome.
Off is off. But we're all psychic. We all have the ability to you could walk in a room and go, "Oh my gosh," you could sense and pick up. I still have all of those. It's as far as me shifting my awareness to I'm off is I'm like I'm not doing readings or I'm not going to be, I may sense and feel them,
Mhm.
but I'm not going to give that, I'm not going to invade somebody's space.
Right.
Unless they ask, unless they find out or know that what I do, then the door's open then.
Do you ever right now the paranormal is just everywhere, right? I mean, it's on
Mhm.
TV, all the shows, they're,
Yes.
the Hollywoodization of paranormal and all that stuff. When you're out and about, do you experience paranormal in the paranormal way like we see on TV?
So, okay, so here that's a great question, and I'm glad we're talking about that because I want to demystify this process. And what is paranormal? What is a haunting? Well, anything could be haunted. I mean, our thoughts are energy, and I feel like that's giving people the wrong message of our loved ones because our loved ones are good, well, and safe. And saying that they're stuck here in a home or stuck. No, there's energy that's stuck. There's a memory that's there. Every thought we think still exists. There's experiences that are embedded in the walls and in the homes and things like that. But as far as your loved ones, they go to the same place we all come from, and that's a place of love. And nobody's stuck. And it's unfortunate. I mean, this is TV. Um, but I'm out there. I want to demystify this.
Mhm. When I hear people talk about souls being stuck, I mean, my question is Okay, then where are our guards and guides and loved ones and God? Like how are we lost? At what point did we miss the turn? You know,
If anybody's gonna get lost, it's gonna be here in human form.
yeah, yeah.
And
And trust me, I know. I've been there.
right? Well, and that's why I'm kind of known for the random and quirky things, and I like those things when spirit comes through because it's not generic, and it's something that I absolutely would not know. And heck, they know what you ate for breakfast. How are they going to get lost when it's their time to cross over? Your loved ones, when they're whether they're here alone in physical and past and spiritual side of life, you got to know their ancestors, their loved ones are here to take their hand in this life and take them off into the next.
Yeah, I see it that way too. I see it that way too. I mean, it makes for great stories. Let's be clear. I mean, it makes
Well,
for
yeah,
great
for sure.
stories on
Absolutely.
TV
You
and
just gotta
but
giggle and laugh about it. But really, it's grief is real, and people want to know, what do they want to know? Number one thing, are they good? Are they
are
okay?
they
Why? Because
okay?
of what we're taught, what we
Mm.
see on TV.
Especially those who take responsibility for their own passing.
Absolutely. And it's very important. It doesn't matter how we get to the other side.
It
We
doesn't.
all go to the same place of love.
So what do you think we're doing over there?
Hey, I think their world is not much different than ours, other than they can manifest now, and they're not in human body. They're free. There's freedom. There's so much freedom. I mean, we're free here too, but we don't have they don't have the body like we do.
Mhm.
They have their etheric body.
Yeah. Yeah. Which we do too. It's just,
Well, yes, but
connected
I'm
to
sure you
something else.
yeah, but I'm sure you've heard of like near death experiences and things like that where people talk about coming back to their body and it feels heavy because you're in your body, right? We have our etheric body and then we have our physical body.
Do you see auras? Speaking of,
I don't normally see auras, no, but I do see loved ones and especially kids.
really?
I do, yes.
In regular life or just when you're doing readings?
When I'm doing my readings or in regular life, like I'll see or I'll like glance over and then I'll be like, okay, is that me or is that who is that?
With your objectively with your physical eyes
No,
or
with my third
with
eye.
your third? Got it. Okay.
Like I'll see them. Like I'll see their
Yep.
etheric body and
Yep.
their features and things like that.
Interesting. So you must have a thing for kids. If kids are what you're tuning into.
Well, I don't have any kids actually. So but I do see them more than I do like adults.
Mhm.
I'll see babies and kids
Oh. So okay. Do you meditate on the daily?
every day.
Every day. Tell me about it.
Every day. Love it. Love it. That's like my routine. I mean, there's a couple days I miss here and there because life happens. But that's my routine is getting up, working out, meditation, and reading. Those are my
In that
three.
order?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So
I'll get up, I'll
if one of our listeners was wondering, I really need to start a new routine, what can I do? And somebody's, really regulated to structure, that's what you do. You get up and you work
yep,
out
I
and
get up, I feed my dog, I
Mhm.
work out, I meditate, and then I do a little bit of reading. Even if it's just a page or two or a chapter, I do always set the tone for the day. And if people are like, "Oh my gosh, you don't have time for this and this," well, get up earlier. We all have 24 hours.
So, okay, so a lot of people then, okay, so some of our listeners might say, I'm just a terrible meditator. I can't shut my brain off. I can't do it.
Right. The more you say you can't, the more you're going to put that on yourself. What I say is when you say I can't, do it more. But it's starting that. It's just starting, even if it's for 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
When you do your meditations, do you literally sit there in silence in your own within, or do you listen to like a guided meditation, or do you have little like Zen music going at the same time?
I usually do a guided meditation, and I also at the end of the evening, I also just sit quietly, just silence.
Mhm. I find when I got started, it was so much easier for me to have the guided meditation because
Mhm.
I had something to focus on, listen to, and go, right?
And that
Um,
works.
and what I found though, the more that I meditated, the more and then you do it a little bit longer and a little bit longer and a little bit longer. What I have found though, at like now, I do it more without the guided meditation, without the words, without somebody telling me go here, do here, in within your mind. And I think it's like anything, the more we do it, the better we get, the more skilled we get, the more skilled that we get at silencing our own ego. All those monkey thoughts. I think monkey thoughts always happen. I don't like they're never like not there for me.
No, we how many thought we what 60, 80,000 thoughts a day, and it's literally observing that thought. You're gonna have thoughts. It's
Uh-huh.
observing it and then letting it go. But meditation's like working out. It's building a muscle. And if you do a guided meditation, I do a guided meditation.
Hmm.
Start there,
Hmm.
even 5 minutes, and it's building that muscle. And then before you know it, you're like, oh my gosh, I need to go meditate because that's my fuel. That's my self recharging.
Yes. Agreed. Um, so Teresa, how can people find you? Where are you on social media? Facebook,
Yes, I'm
Instagram?
on social media, or through my website. It's firehousemedium.com. I am on Facebook. You can find me on my business page, Teresa Rose Firehouse Medium. I do go live every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Central. I do live free readings there. And then of course I'm on TikTok, Instagram. TikTok is newer for me, so I only just got a few videos up there. Um, and then YouTube. I have reading clips on YouTube too as well.
So when you say you go live at 8 p.m. on Wednesdays, is that Central Time?
Yep, Central Standard Time.
And it's live on Facebook or Instagram or
It's
YouTube?
live on Facebook and YouTube.
Got it. Okay.
So I go live every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Central Time on Facebook and YouTube.
Beautiful. Do you have any do you have any last words of wisdom for those listening? Do you have like for those in the two thoughts on words to advise? Do you have words for those that are just so caught in that terrifying grief? And then words for those who are opening up to their own spiritual senses?
Okay. To answer your first question, and you know what, grief can be a very lonely, dark road, and it could be a lonely road, as in like you're doing it alone, right? It's what it feels like. But know that your loved ones are with you and around you, and this is why we do what we do, Jeff, is to bring that evidence and validation. Yes, they are with you and around you. They want you happy, but give yourself permission to grieve. You have to grieve. That's human. Good to know you're human. You have to grieve. You have to go through it. And it's again, I'll say it again. It's okay not to be okay, but we just don't want to get stuck there, Jeff.
Completely.
So to the listeners, I would say, do what you have to do to get up. Get up. You're still here. You're still here for a reason and a purpose.
Beautiful.
And for those that are opening up to this work, is that what your question is?
Yeah, they're starting to recognize they're more than what they once believed.
Isn't that fascinating? Isn't that great?
Yes,
Because
it's
we're always
magical.
learning and growing and evolving.
Hmm. Hmm.
Always, always. And whether you're taught one way and then now you're opening up to something else in a new way. But really at the end of the day, everything is about love, 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 love. Love is all. Love heals all.
Amen.
And always, always follow your heart, your gut, your passions, your dreams. Don't give up. Don't give up on yourself. Get up.
You're amazing. Thank you so much for being here. I'm just so inspired by you in this 45 minutes. Like I can't wait to put this together and, and listen to it again and again and again.
Thank you, Jeff. No, it's been an honor. It's a blessing, and thank you for reaching out again. I'm just so grateful and appreciative.
Thank you. There will come a day where you and I will be working together in front of the groups.
That would be amazing. Let's do it.
Let's absolutely do that. All right, sweetheart. You have an awesome day.
All right, you too.
Thank you again for listening to the Something Super Spiritual podcast. If you know someone who would enjoy this episode, please do share it with a friend. For show notes, links, and to purchase a mediumship reading, my website is somethingsuperspiritual.com. You can also easily subscribe and follow the show on your favorite app, sign up for my newsletter for bonus content, and to keep the conversation going, you can easily join the Facebook community. It's all right there at the website, somethingsuperspiritual.com. Signing off for now, namaste.